This is the harrowing story of how I almost lost my life because of an emergency room provider's negligence, and why I didn't have a legal case against her because, y'all, Texas has some crazy laws. On a Sunday afternoon several years ago, I got this sudden, extreme pain in my back and abdomen. I went straight to the ER thinking I had a kidney stone and just wanted some pain relief. They discovered I didn't have a kidney stone, but I did have a cyst on my right ovary. That didn't really make sense to me because what kind of a cyst could cause as much pain as I had? I was a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale. They sent me home and told me to follow up with my OBGYN in the next few days. So I went home, but by the time I got there, I was writhing in pain. Within about an hour, I knew I needed to go back to the ER. So I went back to the ER, except I went to a different one this time for good measure. When I got there, a PA, physician assistant, saw me, looked at me, and completely dismissed my pain, telling me instead I was just anxious about what was going on. I begged, pleaded with this PA to image me. I told her that I went from having pain that came and went to having constant pain, and it was the worst pain I had ever experienced in my life. She still did nothing. I asked to speak with the attending physician, who I was told was too busy to see me and it wouldn't help anyway. So I was completely written off and sent home with a diagnosis of anxiety. I somehow, I don't know how, made it through that night, and first thing Monday morning the next day, I called my OBGYN's office. I was able to see one of the doctors. She took one look at me and knew something was not right. So she sent me to have an ultrasound and then was going to admit me to the hospital. By the time I got from ultrasound up to the hospital room, she was literally in the room waiting for me, ready to take me to surgery. She told me I had ovarian torsion, which is where the ovary twists on itself and dies. By the time she got in to me in surgery, my ovary was dead, and not only that, it was completely black. She told my husband after surgery that she was shocked that I actually was alive. She expected that with the way things were, I should have been already dead. The way ovarian torsion works is that the ovary will twist on itself and then untwist and go back and forth. That explains why in the first ER, the ultrasound didn't catch it. It's because it would have been untwisted at the time. Remember, my pain wasn't constant at that point. It was going back and forth. But by the time I got to the second ER, my pain was constant, which means that if they had actually imaged me, they most likely would have seen the torsion. And had they seen it, they could have taken me to surgery right away, and there's a very good chance I would not have lost my ovary. But instead, I lost my ovary. I went straight into postmenopause because I already didn't have my left ovary and uterus because of endometriosis. So I went straight into postmenopause, and my life changed forever. All because an emergency room provider diagnosed me as having anxiety. Now, why didn't I have a legal case against her? Well, in the state of Texas, in order to sue a doctor in the ER for medical malpractice, you must be able to prove that they intended to harm you. And because that's almost impossible to do, I never could find an attorney to take my case.